Hi guys, I finally got my diagnosis on the 27th of January this year, 2016. Let me start from the beginning. It's not a good diagnosis, but let me start from the beginning. About a year ago, I started getting a stiffness in my shoulder. Now at my age, 57, I thought, okay, I'm starting to get arthritis, but it was mostly in my right shoulder. So I thought, okay, arthritis, 57, okay. Then I noticed I started limping on my right foot. And I'm thinking, well, I didn't hurt it. I haven't hurt it or anything. And I had to concentrate to walk properly. And that didn't seem right. So I let it go, thinking, okay, I've hurt my leg somehow or whatever. Then I noticed I wasn't swinging my right arm like you swing your left arm. Normally, when you walk, you just unconsciously swing it. Well, I was nursing it. And I'm like, oh, okay, now something's wrong. So I think it was May of this year, or last year, I went to the doctor, and she said, I think you've had a stroke. But my face wasn't drooping or anything like that. So she sent me to a neurologist. And he examined me over the internet, like Skype. And there was a nurse there and blah, blah, blah. And he says, after all this and stuff I did, walking for him and showing him exactly all my symptoms, he says, well, I think you've got Parkinson's disease. Oh my God, like there's no Parkinson's in my family or anything. And he says, well, these diseases just happen. It's not necessarily hereditary. Okay, let's try to make this story really short so you don't get bored. So he says, so he gave me this Levocarb for Parkinson's, and I was on it for 3 months. And I was still working at this time. But the side effects of this drug, I was dizzy, I was nauseous, I was constipated. It wasn't doing anything for me, so I told my boss I had to take a leave of absence for medical reasons. And he said, okay, blah, blah, blah. So 3 months on this Levocarb, and nothing happened. So I went and saw him again after 3 months. And he says, well, if it's not doing anything, stop taking it. It could be ALS. And I just me and the wife are in tears, like ALS, that's a death sentence. I'd rather be gasoline poured on me and burnt to death and it's over in 10 minutes, because ALS is a horrible disease. So during that time, I kind of thought, okay, I've got ALS, let me get my estate all settled, sold the hot rod. As you saw the video there, another video I made, I sent back one of my cars to the bank by the bailiff there. Paid off a bunch of bills that were outstanding. Not all of them, but some bills that would hassle my wife if I ever passed away. So I did all that. So 3 months later I saw him again, which was January 27th. And he says, well, I was in the hospital for a week, pardon me. And they did a whole bunch of tests. They did an EMG on my brain to see how my brain waves were acting. They did a MGM or whatever it is, muscle. They stuck pins all over my body, through here into my tongue, into my arm, and see how my nerves are reacting to electrical stimuli. I had an MRI on my brain. I had a second MRI with a dye in my blood on my brain. And I had an MRI on my spine. And I had an MRI on my, where your spine meets your brain. What else? A bunch of blood tests, blah, blah, blah. And a spinal tap, which was not fun, I tell you. He hit a nerve in my leg, just kicked out like that, and I said, I didn't do that, because I was supposed to hold steady while he's sticking this special needle into my spine. So anyway, a few months went by. And I finally saw the doctor on the 27th, like I've said. And I've been diagnosed with PPMS, primary progressive multiple sclerosis, which I guess out of every 100 cases, only 10 cases get diagnosed with this. This is the most severe multiple sclerosis. It's hard. Basically, if you had a chart, it would just steadily climb, and I'd get worse and worse and worse with all my symptoms, and in a wheelchair and everything. So I asked, well, you know, what am I looking at here prognosis-wise? Is, you know, how long is this disease for? And he says, well, it's non-curable, or no drugs for it. There are some experimental drugs with very bad side effects, and I'm going for blood transfusions where they sift out the antibodies in my blood to see if that'll help at all. It's no cure by any means. So that's got to be set up yet. So it's kind of like a dialysis. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Claire's pretty upset. You can see that. I'm upset. Family's upset. So that's where I sit. It's, if you want to Google it, PPMS. And there's all kinds of sites there you can look to see what, if you want. You know, you don't have to. I understand. So anyway, yeah, that's what it is. PPMS. What else can I say? I'm not doing good. I'm very weak. Can barely go upstairs. My right arm is pretty much useless. I have to shave with 2 hands, brush my teeth with 2 hands. Can't write very good. Can't type very good. So, yeah, my right side's weak. Pins and needles, all kinds of problems. But what it is they believe it's the autoimmune system in your body attacking this tissue called myelin, which surrounds your nerves. Now, if you look at a piece of wire, say the copper there is the nerves, the blue is the myelin tissue, and I don't know, millions of these running through your brain and down your spinal cord. I don't know how many, but lots anyway. And what it is your autoimmune system is attacking. Pretend this is your autoimmune system, my titty lighter. And it's attacking this myelin tissue. Now if you see that, that's the damage. It's inflamed. As it cools, it becomes scarred. And that affects the nerves running around your brain and your spinal cord to the muscles and to your brain. There's no cure for that. Once there's a scar tissue, that's it. These are all affected. So how bad the inflammation is, and it just doesn't happen on one. That's what it's multiple sclerosis, multiple scars. So that's how that works. And of course your nerves aren't made of copper. That's one thing. And of course, you know, your immune system isn't a flame, but basically that's a redneck view of what's happening to my brain and spinal cord. Okay, it's hard video to do. Thanks, guys. How do you turn the fucking thing off? It's a whole joke.